Darryn Peterson is a #1 prospect for the next NBA draft, and he's known for creating buckets out of nothing. Today, I wanted to go over some of the simple things he does to create points for his team. Starting here, I wanted to go over his reads on ball screens. We're going to be analyzing 2 games, one by North Carolina and one by North Carolina State. This is because North Carolina primarily showed drop coverage and didn't hedge so hard and didn't try to deny him so much, whereas North Carolina State did. So in this example, you'll actually see that where North Carolina doesn't hedge, they play drop coverage and they go over the screen, giving him the floater. Another ball screen read that Darryn Peterson makes is whenever his defender goes under the screen, like you'll see here, he'll actually take a 3. So what this looks like is the screener is going to set a screen right here, and then instead of going over the top, the defender is going to go under, which gives Darryn Peterson this little space right here to take a 3. And while he misses that one, that's a really good read to know for any small guards with a good shot. And here's what Peterson does really well. You're going to see here that he doesn't get the screen that he wants the first time around, but then he asks for a rescreen, and he uses that rescreen to get this defender to go on his back. And what that means essentially is that if the defender goes over the screen, then Darryn Peterson will wind up about like right here with the defender behind him and another defender, the big man's defender, in front of him. This gives him a lot of options, but one of the most common reads that he makes in this situation is to take a jump shot with the hope that he gets fouled. So here's the first screen. I think the reason he didn't like this is because he knew the defender was going to go under, which wouldn't really create an advantage for him. And this defender is still in the gap and hedging hard. Whereas if he rescreens and goes over to the strong side, which is the side where the ball is, there wouldn't be that much hedge defense. There wouldn't be that much help defense to stop Darryn Peterson's drive. So as he asks for the rescreen, you'll see the defender actually does move into going over the screen, which then creates an opportunity as Darryn Peterson's defender is on his back, and then he's got this little window of space where he can either throw a pocket pass to his big man or take a jump shot here. He could even keep driving and try to get this big man to make a decision between him and his teammate. What he does here is he just takes a jump shot and gets fouled. Okay, so now we can compare this to the North Carolina State game where they did a much better job at denying Darryn Peterson of getting any advantages. And it is evident that Darryn Peterson is actually not that great at passing over double teams, blitzes, and all of that. So here you're going to see Darryn Peterson gets the ball back after passing it to his teammate, and then they're going to set a pick and roll. And as the pick's being set, this defender is going to actually jump out alongside this defender and force Darryn Peterson to make a play, essentially. His teammate's going to drive towards the basket. This defender is going to pick him up. This defender is going to go over to the corner, and then that will leave one person open on this side of the court. So now you can see the blitz comes. There's 2 defenders that are on his back and 1 hedge defender right here, and Darryn Peterson has picked up his dribble. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. The correct read is to pass it to this guy right here. Essentially, whenever a double team comes, there's always going to be one person open. Normally, it's the big man, but this time, as the big man roamed, there was a switch that happened, and now he's being defended. So now there's basically 2 of his teammates that are open on the top of the key and in the corner area, but Darryn Peterson doesn't see this, and his teammate has to come and get a handoff from him, and then this defender jumps back out to take the top of the key, and one of these defenders is going to rotate to the corner, and everything's reset. So it's good to watch this because it's evident that Darryn Peterson, as good as he is, does have weaknesses and makes mistakes. We're going to go through some more of these plays in the North Carolina State game because he eventually does start getting better with the blitz. So here's another action where North Carolina State does end up blitzing. So his teammate's setting the screen right here. Both defenders are going to jump out, and we'll see what he does. All right, so here, no one is open at this moment. His teammate, though, made the right decision and from here, he runs out to the 3-point line, meaning that one of these two have to tag him, which will leave this guy open in the corner, because his big man right here has to be tagged by someone, otherwise the roll is wide open. The person that's tagging that roll is the low man, who is the person defending the weak side corner. So what will end up happening is, as his teammate runs out, Darryn Peterson will make the pass, and then we'll get like a hockey assist to this guy in the corner for an open three. So this is an important read to be able to make, because passing over the double team will often lead to a wide open three. However, if Darryn Peterson just tried to pass it to his big man, you can see here, his big man was not open. The only thing that was open was that his big man got the seal, but that would have been a much harder pass to make than just swinging it to the corner. Okay, here's another action, another pick and roll where they end up blitzing. So right here, Darryn Peterson is getting the screen from Melvin Council Jr. However, it doesn't really lead to anything because of all of the help defense in these gaps right here. So what will end up happening is that his teammate Bryson Tiller is going to come up and set another screen, and his defender, this guy, is going to come out and try to blitz. Okay, so here Darryn Peterson makes the right read, because as Bryson Tiller rolls, his the low man's defender, Melvin Council Jr.'s defender, actually goes and tags him, which means that Melvin Council Jr. is now the one that's open. His teammate goes to the corner, and this just clears all the ways that North Carolina State could recover. All right, another important concept to understand for this North Carolina State game is this concept of icing the screen. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So essentially, as Darryn Peterson receives the screen from Bryson Tiller, this guy, Terrence Arsenault, who's from Beaumont, Texas, by the way, middle of nowhere, he jumps out. He was originally defending Bryson Tiller. He jumps out to deny the pass from Darryn Peterson's teammate. This does create a ton of space for Darryn Peterson's big man to roll. Essentially, the goal of this is that now Darryn Peterson is incentivized to go back this way. And if he does, Trey Holloman will just go back on. He was originally defending Darryn Peterson. Trey Holloman will just go and keep defending Darryn Peterson, and no advantage is created. However, there's a number of ways to defeat this. So, like I said earlier, the big man's got a ton of space to roam. The big man can just go down low and get a mismatch if he wanted to. And by doing so, he actually takes Trey Holloman out of the picture, and Darryn Peterson can now flare to the corner. His teammate can make the overhead pass to him, and he's got a wide open three or a first step on this guy Arsenault. However, he doesn't do any of those things, and instead just makes the pass a little bit easier and ends up with an empty possession. And the reason this is so important is because as the game goes on, Darryn Peterson actually keeps making better and better reads against this deny tactic. So here, there is no screen, and it's not the same type of action, but the concept of forcing Darryn Peterson to the baseline is still in full effect. So now he's got a step on his defender who's trying to keep him going baseline and funnel him to the big man. However, this is exactly the type of situation where Darryn Peterson thrives, having his defender on his hip or on his back, because almost every time this happens, Darryn Peterson's just going to pull up for a jump shot and get fouled and get easy free throws. And even if he didn't want this shot, his teammate is wide open in the on the wing, and his other teammate was wide open on the corner before the cut. And here's the culmination of Darryn Peterson's efforts. Just an excellent read whenever he realizes his defender's icing him. Right here, Darryn Peterson is basically given the entire floor, because North Carolina State's goal is just to prevent him, by defending with all five guys, to prevent him from getting any good looks. So if Darryn Peterson cuts here, this defender comes in, the low man comes in, and then this guy will come over to the corner, and everything will be solved, and Darryn Peterson will be doubled almost immediately. Darryn Peterson waits a bit, though, knowing this will happen, and ends up forcing a backdoor cut to give him 3 points. So right here, he waits for this low man to venture a little bit further outward, gets like immediately behind his defender's back right here. And as soon as he notices that his defender's looking at the ball and not paying attention to him, he just sprints for the back. I mean, he really is jogging towards the basket. This is an excellent cut. All right, here's one of the best reads to be able to make. Right here, Quadir Copeland's just denying this handoff. He's just getting in front of the ball, not letting Darryn Peterson receive it from his big man. We'll see what Darryn Peterson does here. All right, so right here, Darryn Peterson gets the ball. Immediately, we could see that he's being funneled towards this part of the floor, where this big man can step up if needed, and this defender is right here to provide additional assistance. So his big man is going to take this space and end up getting what's called a short roll pass. All right, here you can see as Flory Badunga slips, North Carolina State's big man is going to come over from the low man position. Bryson Tiller is going to be open on the wing, and you're going to see Matt Abel take Bryson Tiller, Trey Holloman take Trey White, and then Melvin Council Jr. is going to be wide open. The reason for this is because Melvin Council Jr. is not a great three-point shooter. However, leaving him on these wide open looks just is not going to work. What's supposed to happen is that one of these North Carolina State guys should rotate over, but because this doesn't end up happening, they both take Darryn Peterson and try to protect this slip pass. Melvin Council Jr. is just wide open on the three-point line. And while that did miss, getting that short roll pass is an excellent read off of the double team. And it's one of the reasons why Darryn Peterson gets so many free points.